Concord Carlisle High School Corporation. For years, a variety of voices have been insisting that we at the high school adopt a business model to run our affairs. Okay. We've heard you loudly and clearly, so we hired no-bid consultants and put high-priced lawyers with questionable ethics on retainer. At great expense, they presented us with a transition plan so that we too can run like a business. Today, we're here to reintroduce ourselves to you, the new Concord Carlisle High School Corporation for the Conveyance of Human Scholarship, or the CCHS. Please allow me to introduce the chairman of the board of the Concord Carlisle Teachers Association, Mr. Jeffrey Uhas. Next to him, our Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Ethan Hoblitzel. Our Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Joanne Glazier. And our Chief of Where You Can Put Your State Mandates, Ms. Jennifer Greeley. Joining them at the table, the Executive Board of the Concord Carlisle Teachers Association Corporation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the oil in the machinery of your child's education, the cogs in the cognoscenti, the people who make it all happen, I give you the production line of the Concord Carlisle High School Corporation for the Conveyance of Human Scholarship. And Ms. Kay Chambers, both retired and retiring members of the Guidance Department, who will deliver the traditional opening welcome speech. Ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome.
Most stirring rendition of the welcome speech I've ever heard. By federal mandate, once a week we must begin our stockholder meetings with the official anthem of the CCHS. Please join us in singing our anthem, This Is My High School.
But fairyland is just too far away. Despite your while you congregate behind the science wing, our magic small for sure that you will see. Yeah!
This is my high school, Concord Carlisle. This is
Your Social Studies Department, by Dr. Fury. As been our tradition here since 1865.
This is Diane Tomaz
And Michael Vasile.
with the evening announcements. If you received a pink form at homeroom today, be sure to fill it out and turn it into Ms. Trainer in the main office. If you didn't receive a pink form, you can get a white application form from Ms. Mary. Fill it out and turn it into Ms. Davis in guidance. Anyone who still has a goldenrod form should exchange it immediately for a green form. The goldenrod forms are now outdated. Have your parents read and sign your blue forms, then pass them into the nurse's office by Friday. This announcement will be repeated every day for the next 14 weeks.
Attention students, the cross-country team has merged with the fashion club to form a new organization. The first meeting of the cross-dressing team.
Attention, students and staff. In accordance with state fire regulations, fire doors must remain closed at all times.
Attention students and staff. In accordance with state regulations regarding individuals with physical disabilities, fire doors must remain open at all times.
There will be a SAT meeting next Tuesday after school in H12. Tissues will be provided at the door.
Attention students, the CCHS wireless internet network will be down all day. For further information, see the school website.
Congratulations to Mrs. Tessari on winning Megabucks. As she will be leaving her job immediately, no further transcripts will be processed this year. In the future, give your recommendations and college essays to no one. No one will make sure they are forwarded to the appropriate admissions boards.
Attention all Catherines. There will be a lottery next Tuesday to determine which of you is going to be called Kate, Kathy, Kat, Kay, Catherine, Katie with a Y, Katie with an IE, Katie with an IEP.
There will be a mandatory meeting for swimmers and divers after school today. If you can't make it, look up mandatory in the dictionary and then come.
Attention Sci-Fi Club members. Today's discussion topic will be geeks, freaks, and nerds. 40 years of unpopularity in high school, followed by 40 years of running the world.
Attention too much time from our meetings, so please keep your announcements to the absolute minimum number of words necessary to fully communicate the information about the event, idea, meeting, or program without recourse to repetitive and redundant verbiage, meaningless addenda or grammatically ambiguous run-on clauses that don't contribute content beyond what was covered in the introductory phraseology.
The temperature this morning is 98.6 degrees, brought to you by the CCHS Proctology Club.
As has been our tradition since 1864, Mr. Kerr, the official referee of the CCHS, will join us in the ceremonial throwing out of the first act in Boxborough joke. Members of the board, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dick Kerr.
How do you get a one-armed Acton Boxborough student out of a tree? Wave.
And Ms. Moskowitz as this evening's official geek chorus. Keep an eye on these people. The geek chorus have been invited to add commentary and opinion to tonight's commentary and opinion. Tonight's meeting is being sponsored by Inflation, the official fragrance of the CCHS. Inflation, it's grade A. And by Interrupt-A-Class, a new phone service that will call your cell in the middle of every class.
Is it inconvenient now? How about now? Is it inconvenient now?
By state mandate, there's a great deal of information we have to share with you this evening over and above the important business that will be discussed from the podium. These mandates have been handed down because all legislators are experts on public schools since 30 years ago. Some of them attended public schools, no matter how briefly. So that we can meet our mandated requirements, we will be presenting you with a variety of charts and graphs over the course of the evening on the center stage. Feel free to pay as much attention to them as the faculty pays to the charts and graphs with which we are presented during faculty meetings. Tonight's shareholders meeting is being broadcast live on WIQH 88.3 in your FM dial. WIQH serving over 88.3 homes for over 33 days. To open this meeting and to explain to you, our stockholders, the restructuring we have undergone, I present to you the chairman of the board, formerly known as the president of the Concord Carlisle Teachers Association, Mr. Jeff Uhas of the Science Department.
Thank you, Mr. Atlas. As we all know, the foundation of tenure restructuring is meaningless terminology. As I give you my introductory remarks, I will be presenting you with some of the new jargon which will help us propel the CCHS into the 21st century. First, however, I'd like to welcome Mr. Follies and the other members of what we used to call the administration, but will hereby be referred to as the management. Thank you for coming. We know how valuable your time is. In fact, we know to the cent how much more valuable your time is than ours. I'd like to address some comments to the parents in the audience, or as they will be known, our suppliers. For years, you have provided us with excellent raw materials, delivering them to us in a timely and regular manner. We applaud your expert manufacturing capabilities. I invite you to continue to fill our warehouses with your high-quality goods, which we will then, after careful molding and 4 years of processing, turn into high-grade product. Finally, some words to the students, or as they will now be known, our inventory. The new business model will impact you the most. For an unlucky few, it will mean being shipped off to Bangalore, India, where we are currently setting up an outsourced processing facility. Others of you will be designated for niche markets. Organically taught, free-brained students are quite popular these days amongst the Belgian Endive crowd.
Ow! Recognizes the esteemed official referee of the proceedings.
Multicultural foul. No natural humor at the expense of the European.
I believe he was talking about Belgian endive, which is a vegetable, not Belgians as a whole.
Proceed!
Thank you.
A single day each and every year. You will be affixed to a conveyor belt which will bring you from convocation to the Spirit Assembly, to the Winter Concert Assembly, to the How to Sell Chocolate Assembly, to the Musical Vignettes Assembly, and so forth. Yes, taking a cue from Henry Ford and heeding the sage words of our school committee, we're introducing the assembly line to the school. Some assembly is required. We will be announcing other automations and improvements in efficiency over the course of tonight's meeting. With your help, we can turn this Institute of Learning into a facility so productive, you will all be as easily replaceable as some people think we are. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Uhas. Inspiring words indeed. Tonight's meeting is being sponsored in part by inflation. Inflation, the official fragrance of the CCHS. Inflation, so that the only thing that stinks is our sense of integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to announce another way we have found to wholly embrace the business model. In an effort to both raise funds for the school and to teach our students to be good capitalist consumers, please stay tuned for these important words from our sponsors.
You ever need to text message your friend Carly to tell her Brad had just admitted that Ed might have had feelings for Susan, and you can't wait until that boring history class ends? Well, when a teacher gives you a detention for chatting on your cell phone on a supposed trip to the bathroom, why add insult to injury by paying ridiculous hidden fees? Face it, you need cellular phone service. Our new Friends and Classmates plan. Yes, with cellular you can buy one phone and get a spare at half price. Very useful when your teacher confiscates your main phone. Customize your ringtones to ensure maximum disruption during class. Get free phones for each of your 3 best friends. And whenever one of those should become your ex-best friend, we can switch that witch right to triple high rates. Here are some added features. If you sign up before midnight tonight, calls made from the L building no longer count as roaming. Free podcast from WIQH. A special Ned tax may apply. All calls made from the girls' bathroom during class are free. And cellular Friends and Classmates plan, because waiting until passing time to get that urgent message to your buddies is oh so last year.
You know, Isabel, I do love Concord. The history, the literary heritage, the rich food, the rich people. But there's one thing I haven't been able to find. What's that? Well, the other day I was reading my Proust, and it occurred to me that it's been years since I've had a good Madeleine. You know, those little lemon cookies that were so prevalent in our youth. Concord would be perfect if only you could get a good Madeleine. It really gets my gall.
Yes, but you know, now you can get a Madeleine. Has just come out with a beautiful, delicious collection of cookies, treats, and bonbons. See, it's called the Passé Simpler. And with it, you can evoke all the remembrances of things past in one simple box of lemon cookies. That's the Fresh Department's Passé Simpler. Buy one today.
Suffer from a sense of grim foreboding, angst, and existential ennui that made getting through the day all but impossible. I thought at first I was allergic to inner meaning, or that I just couldn't find true purpose in grading huge stacks of identical homework assignments. I tried doctors, I tried medications, I tried alternative treatments. I even tried slamming my head repeatedly against the floor, but nothing seemed to work. Then I thought, maybe it's just my coffee. So I switched to being a nothingness. The social studies department's new decaffeinated coffee. I used to drink chock full of nuts, our caffeinated brand, but with being a nothingness, I don't have to yell at children anymore. I can correct and return tests in the same month. I can even resist the urge to pull out my
in moments of high stress. Most importantly, I can sit through entire faculty meetings without that all too familiar, overpowering urge to drown myself in a huge bag of blue Jello. So, if you're overly concerned about why Sisyphus keeps rolling that rock up the hill, Sisyphus. Disturbed by the impermanence of the world, focusing a little too heavily on what it all really means. Take it from me, with new being and nothingness, brand decaffeinated coffee, you'll feel like it all makes sense again. It's meaning in a cup! That's being and nothingness, decaffeinated coffee. Being and nothingness, because nothing lasts forever. Editions of the Passe Sampler and Bean and Nothingness will be available for sale during intermission in the court booth at the lobby. That's just outside the auditorium. Buy yours before they're gone. And of course, pick up your bottle of Inflation. Inflation, the official fragrance of the CCHS. Inflation, the smell of unwarranted success. With a hint of Aldi. We must have explicit written goals and objectives listing desired outcomes and cross-listed with state and national frameworks for everything we do. As a result, we've compiled a list of goals and objectives for tonight's stockholder meeting. Here to present tonight's goals and objectives, Ms. Sutter of the English Department and Mr. Prifty of the Art Department.
It's a particular pleasure for me to be here tonight, as my professional goal for the year is to be seen wearing more blue.
During this stockholder meeting, we intend to focus on the following explicit goals and objectives as required by state and federal mandate.
1. The show will meet all federal mandates. No stockholder will be left behind.
2. The show will meet all state mandates. You will all be taking a standardized test at intermission. The test will cover what we're going to be doing in the second act. You will not be allowed to leave the auditorium until you earn a score of proficient on the test.
Time permitting, we hope you learned something. It doesn't really matter what. Actual learning is now secondary to documentation.
Live tonight on WIQH, 88.3 in your FM dial, WIQH, angst-free since March of 2005. By state mandate, all stockholder meetings must have a mission statement. Here to present ours is Ms. Haskins of the Guidance Department.
Thank you, Mr. Atlas. The mission statement of the Concord Carlisle High School Corporation for the Conveyance of Human Scholarship. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bonds which have connected them with another, and wait, I'm sorry. In an effort to make everyone happy, and as a result of having to find a way to state the completely obvious in a way that everyone can agree with, and neither offends nor upsets anyone, while staying within the bounds of one grammatically questionable sentence, it will be the mission of this stockholders meeting that all management, employees, suppliers, and inventory be able to recite by heart, and whenever asked by a representative of the state or any state-sanctioned accreditation body, the following mnemonic device for remembering the key points of the mission statement of the shareholders meeting to wit. The C for CCHS mission statement. The C stands for CCHS mission statement. The second C stands for completely obvious. The H stands for absurd. The S stands for state-sanctioned accreditation body. The next C stands for unacceptable grade. The final C CHS stands for Chelmsford High School, where they don't worry about any of this foolish stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Haskins. This important announcement has just been handed to me. Will the owner of a silver SUV in the parking lot, mass registration 42SV17, please buy a more gas-efficient car? Tonight's meeting will include a completely legal raffle. Here to explain the rules, please welcome Mr. Sheldon Keel of the English Department and his lovely assistant, Miss Lovely Assistant of the Social Studies Department.
Association about a corporate restructuring, they proposed a merger. Now, normally, we in the corporate world don't hold much for NGOs like the Parents Association, but they made us an offer we couldn't refuse. The Parents Association has organized a raffle for Red Sox tickets and for an authentic MLB ball autographed by Carl Yastrzemski himself. For just $5 or 5 tickets for $20, you can have the opportunity to win either 4 tickets to 2 games or our grand prize, 2 tickets to 1 game. 4 tickets to a second game and the Carl Yastrzemski ball. Now, I don't know about you, Miss Lovely, but when I get home after a hard day's work, there's nothing better than putting my feet up, cracking a beer, scratching myself, and watching a Sox game. How you doing? All money raised in this raffle will be applied to the purchase of a large screen message board connected to projectors via a computer. Announcements, information, messages, pictures, and videos can be displayed all day, whenever new information is available. This screen will hopefully be located in the cafeteria and will help keep the students, faculty, and staff updated on what's due at CCHS. You said it, Lovely. Speculation, technology, sports, and gambling. And all for a good cause. Who could want more? Tickets for this raffle will be on sale during admission in the lobby. At the courtrooms. Make sure you buy yours before the second act, when we'll be back to pick the winner.
Not my idea. By both the state and federal mandate, all lessons taught here at the new CCHS must have documented lesson plans which align with both state and national frameworks. The community, by law, may review all lesson plans, which are filed alphabetically by title in our Office of Ridiculous Paperwork. To present you an example of such a lesson plan, please welcome Ms. Gillis and Mr. Moss of the Health and/or Fitness Department.
Here's a sample of a written lesson plan for a one-day unit in the Health and/or Fitness Department entitled Capture the Flag. 1. State goals, objectives, cross-listing them with both state and federal frameworks and guidelines.
Goals. All students can and will win the game. This is in line with the local standard that a priori success be ensured.
Students will capture the opposing team's flag. This goal aligns with the state framework 378B, line 12, the finders, keepers provision of the possession is 9/10 of the law paragraph.
Students will be imbued with an overpowering nationalistic urge to capture everyone's flag that doesn't agree with them. This goal aligns with the new federal framework 465-8, Section 2, the America Love It or Leave It rule.
Students will learn to identify the slow and the weak. This aligns with the federal framework, which states, if we acted this way in the 50s, it must be right and wholesome.
2. State the grading rubric with which you will be assessing students' progress. Students will be assessed on a 5-point grading rubric. 1 point, student will earn 1 point for recognizing.
2 points. Student will earn 2 points for saluting the flag.
3 points. Students will earn 3 points for running in the direction of the flag.
4 points. Student will earn 4 points for capturing the flag.
5 points. Student will earn 5 points for skipping class and going to Six Flags.
Number 3. Describe the methods of differentiated instruction that will be used to reach students with alternative learning styles. For the sedentary learner, lounge chairs will be provided for students who learn best by not doing anything.
Parents will be invited to compete for their children or to hire consultants who will compete for their children. This accommodation serves the codependent learner.
Following the lead of our members of our senior class, entrepreneurial learners will be allowed to manufacture counterfeit flags and sell them to members of their own team.
4. List all educational fads and political buzzwords that can even remotely be associated with this lesson. What do you want? We've got them all.
Interdisciplinary approach.
Authentic assessment.
Interdisciplinary approach. Students will learn why their flag is more respect-worthy than their opponent's flag.
Authentic assessment.
Authentic assessment. Students will be able to display their captured flag in a variety of ways, including but not limited to videos of the flag, pictures and songs about the flag, and an interpretive dance representing the flag.
Differentiated learning.
Dimensions of learning.
Performance assessment. Performance assessment.
They're all here. If you'd like to read through the document to find your own personal favorite educational fad or buzzword, the lesson plan is filed under flag, comma, capture the, in the Office of Ridiculous Paperwork. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Moss and Ms. Gillis, for that enlightening presentation. The following segment is being sponsored by Vlad's Plaid Pads. Vlad's Plaid Pads, packed in water when only the finest plaid pads will do. Choose Vlad's. You'll be glad you did. I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, while it is not mandated that we do so, we'd like to squeeze in a moment of entertainment into our meeting. Toward that end, it's my pleasure to announce that tonight you will be hearing the world premiere of Alan Fozel's third published piece, The Diane Cannon. Mr. Fozel, thank you very much. Mr. Fozel's piece will be performed tonight by the Deficient Quintet Chamber Ensemble. Here to introduce the ensemble and the piece, Mr. Hart of the English Department.
Thank you,
Mr. Atlas. Ladies and gentlemen, we are truly honored tonight to be able to present to you the third world premiere by CCHS's own Mr. Alan Fozell. Tonight's piece, The Diane Canon, is an homage to plagiarism. Originally titled Copying, a Major Problem for A Minor in A Minor, the name was changed when Fozell learned that publishers charge by the letter. The Diane Canon will be performed by CCHS's very own diminished quintet, consisting of Mr. Alfred W. Dentino of the music department on clarinet, Mr. Jason Martell of the foreign language department on viola, and Mr. Scott Knopf of the music department on violin. Substituting for Mr. Knopf, who was called away unexpectedly on a violin emergency, Mr. Kevin Donahue, Associate Professor of Accidental Solos. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever, I give you the diminished quintet playing Alan Fozell's The Diane Canon.
met, ladies and gentlemen, and their itinerant trombonist, Parker Schweer. Thank you, and bravo, that Fozell must be a brilliant man indeed. It's a pity he couldn't be here tonight. Unfortunately, he was involved in an incident with some seasoned toast, and he's now in court facing assault and buttery charge. Tonight's performance is being brought to you by Inflation, the official fragrance of CCHS. Inflation, made with real extract of honor roll. We're being heard live tonight in WIQH. WIQH, no longer banned in Bulgaria. Ladies and gentlemen, by state mandate, each stockholder meeting must contain at least one segment of intrinsic value to both suppliers and inventory. To meet that mandate, please join me in welcoming Ms. Sophia Ravidi and Mr. David Nuremberg, both of the English department and co-advisors of the Science Fiction Club, who will discuss the finer points of writing college essays for your children. That's what I mean. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Ravidi and Mr. Nuremberg.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. In preparing your college essay, it is important to really make sure that your prose is tight and dramatic.
Dave?
Yes?
You just split an infinitive.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You just said it is important to really make sure.
No, I didn't. Do you mind? Anyway, as I was saying, you must proofread your essay to make sure there isn't any inadvertent errors or...
Dave, not to be a bother, but you just had a subject-verb disagreement.
I beg your pardon?
You said there isn't any inadvertent errors, but it should be there aren't any inadvertent errors. Subject and verb have to agree.
Do you want to do this?
Sure. As you're preparing your essay, think to yourself, if I was an admissions board officer, what...
Subjunctive, contrary fact, if I were.
If I were an admissions board officer, what criteria would I judge essays by?
Dangling preposition.
Keep it up. I'll give you a dangling. To continue, one criteria is word choice. Choose the word.
Not to be a bother.
What is it now, Nuremberg?
I believe criteria is plural. You should have said one criterion.
One criterion is word choice. Choose the word which most succinctly says what you intend to say, and let it be the nucleus of your sentence.
Nucleus.
Then, the word which you choose...
Choose the word that, not the word which.
In fact, which is correct.
No, you're distinguishing it from a larger class of which it's a member. The correct choice is that.
No? That's which.
No, that's that.
I've had just about enough of you, Nuremberg. One more snide remark, and I'll send you back to Endor, the forest planet, with the other furry little puppets.
You and what army?
Your powers are weak, old man. As your knowledge of syntax and mechanics.
Miss Ravidi, if you strike me down now, I will become more powerful than you can possibly. You underestimate the power of the dark side of grammar. Besides, my research is backed up by the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis.
Slapjack? Whorf isn't even in Star Wars, Jabba the Buckhead.
Not Whorf, you fool! Whorf! And tell me, don't you agree that words interrelated in the same language have no particular relation and are considered in fact entirely arbitrary?
Parallel structure error! Parallel structure error! You can't mix a participle and a gerund? A palpable hit. Before I strike you down, Mr. Merriman, there's one thing you must know. I am your father.
Sorry about that. That wasn't my idea. And now some more important words from our sponsors.
So, you gave a big test on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and the median was a 38%. Your students are convinced that the Crimea and Korea are just different spellings of the same place. And that the charge of the right brigade was uphill 51. A recent graduate has told her professors that you taught her a regression coefficient measures how far a person has retreated into childhood. In this litigious age, your liability is unlimited. Protect yourself with mal-teaching. At a 10-year company, for just pennies a day, you can protect yourself against claims that we never learned that, or you didn't tell us this would be on the test, or I didn't have enough time. 10-year company offers the most comprehensive mal-teaching insurance on the market today. Your rates will never increase, and you can't be turned down no matter how bad your teaching is. So, be prepared when you're called to task for John's not being made editor of the Yale Law Review. When your former student comes up second for the Nobel Prize in Physics, be ready for the inevitable lawsuit blaming you. Professionals in other fields have always known that it is important to cover your assets. Tenure company mal-teaching insurance for the goofs that live on in students' minds.
The tyrant Julius Caesar got you down? Is Brutus waffling on his commitment to the restoration of the Republic? Can't face one more day in a Senate full of plebes and Gauls? These are trying times, and in trying times you need to start your day off right with new Ciceros. You can do just that. The new breakfast
for cereal that puts a main sauna in your corporate. It's the sine qua non for good health. Just pour on a little lock and hear them crackle. Grace ipso loquitur. They're fortified with figs and datives and full of veiny VD vitamins. So next time you're planning on stabbing a despot to death, carpe your DM off right with Cicero's, oh tempora, oh mores, oh golly, they're good.
Fire chief says there can't be more than 10 kids on stage at a time during the next musical. Our MCAS results have fallen below Acton Boxborough. The dance club are all suffering from stress Achilles tendons. 2/3 of our active boards have broken, and half the department has applied for maternity leave. Here's good news, though.
What's that?
I just saved a bundle on my malteaching journey.
The active board in my classroom broke too. Luckily, I have an inactive board. This shareholders meeting is being produced by the Concord Carlisle Teachers Association. All proceeds for the show will go toward defraying the operating costs of that august institution. The CCTA working to create and protect the best learning environment for students. During the intermission, be sure to visit the court booth in the lobby, where you'll find many of the products advertised here tonight, including Inflation. Inflation, the official fragrance of the CCHS. Inflation, bask in the sweet scent of lowered expectations. According to the Multicultural Outlook Act of 1974, by federal mandate, all shareholder meetings must contain an acknowledgement of the ethnic, racial, gender orientation, and hip diversity of the faculty. I therefore present to you Mr. Rivera and Mr. Hoblitzell of the Social Studies Department.
Him in the eye. With the soul, kiss the white from me, cause the house is out there, just too dark. I wish I could be there out of this Busy Tuesday, man, brings to do soon. Jump in my car, sing my favorite tune. I believe the children are our future. Teach them let them lead the way. Who believes that? A little dinner is straight out work. Somewhere down the route to the freeway. Never 7, 8, not no leeway. Pass by our watching the Mormon steeple. Only people on the road are the teacher people. It's crazy all the time. We're the boys from social studies taking no pride. Parking lots of mess, students hanging all the time. Stuff in Boston, it's a serious crime. Yo, what's up, Rivera? You ready for a fight? Yeah, I'm down for teaching you. Teaching in the AM, kids are sleeping everywhere. 7:30 serious? Anyone really care? Ain't up to minute on my watch. Listen, yo, can't teach snoozers. He's got the Zuckerberg. Hey, now with me, like 5 minutes is sweet. Get on my next classmate. The schedule is trying to play me. Oh, now it seems like I can get you. Only more than in your hood. TV show. summer gone wide. The job got done. Go to fact meeting. Have some fun. Telling corny jokes like a man do long. I used to spend time running this here song. Fact meeting. It's a one-man scene. You read the stakes and keep our noses clean. Man, all these rules are really like I'm saying. TCC, it's so crazy all the time. We're the boys from social studies, check the note rhyme. Yeah, we out like a teacher doing summer. Got to come back to my home and a lot of rubber. We got the kids and a posse of friends. Yeah, we out like a G in this Mercedes Benz. Watch out behind us. Me and Subaru. You see all the pain. Someone else is full. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, what's up, fool? Oh, not much flow. What's up, Chris? What's going on, Mr. Roos? Let's see, take us home, baby.
The Social Studies Department's other white meat. By dramatic mandate, the first act of all shows must end with a rousing production number. To deliver ours, please welcome the talented Ms. Allison Fury of Guidance, accompanied by the CCHS's own house band, Senior Pole, and his political advisors.
Easy.
is, I promise, a shorter second act. In the meantime, please be sure to visit the court booth in the lobby where you can buy raffle tickets as well as many of the products advertised tonight.
May I have your attention, please? This is just a reminder. All shareholders should now be reporting to intermission. All shareholders should now be reporting to intermission. Thank you.
Back, ladies and gentlemen, we have a great deal to cover and very little time in which to do it. During the intermission, I was just handed 4 new unfunded mandates from the state. To fulfill the first, we're going to need a windmill, a half a ton of cottage cheese, and a human sacrifice. Volunteers, please report to the Office of Unnecessary Paperwork at the end of tonight's meeting. Bring a completed Corey form. That was for my colleagues. The second new state mandate states that at every public gathering, teachers must model the kinds of learning in which they expect their students to engage. Since, as most of you suspect, creating and preparing an effective, memorable lesson plan takes little, if any, time, during the break, we put together a sample model debate in which 2 of our esteemed faculty members will demonstrate the finer points of oratorical gymnastics. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Joanna Glazer of the Social Studies Department and Mr. Andrew Sapp, member of the English Department and Sergeant in the National Guard, with whom he recently returned from serving a 2-year tour of duty in Iraq. Tonight's topic of debate: in an all-out war for mastery of the universe, who would win? The Transformers or George of the Bungle?
Thank you, Mr. Atlas. Clearly, in an all-out war for mastery of the universe, George of the Bungle versus the Transformers, George would win. One is a metal-hearted, inhuman tool of capitalistic consumer industry, while the other is just a bunch of toys.
Now, granted, George is real,
and the Transformers are merely action figure cartoon toys. However, both live in a fantasy world of their own creation. The Transformers can change their form and function to meet whatever danger arises.
True. But George has a far more potent superpower. He can change the past so that whatever he did was the right thing to do, always ensuring victory. Mission accomplished. When we invaded Iraq, it was because Saddam Hussein was stockpiling weapons of mass destruction and developing nuclear weapons he was ready to use against the United States. No weapons of mass destruction? No nuclear program? No problem! Change the past. Now we went to war to liberate the Iraqis from an oppressive dictator.
I agree. The ability to change the past is a potent superpower. But George has nothing on the Transformers when it comes to experience in battle. The Transformers waged a new war every Saturday morning. The only war that George can foment is the one between the fundamentalists in the Mideast and the fundamentalists in the Midwest.
That's just incorrect. Actually, George has engaged in countless wars. There was the war on drugs, the war on terrorism, the war against people who were waging a war on Christmas, the war to protect our family values.
Yes. But the Transformers won all of their wars, and they won each one in just 30 minutes. George has had us fighting in Iraq for over 3 years, despite his promise that we'd be greeted as liberators.
Again, while I hate confusing the truth with facts, here is what actually happened. George did win all those wars. For example, he won the war in Afghanistan by invading Iraq. Now nobody remembers Afghanistan. Victory! The war on drugs was won on 9/11. As for the war to protect family values, it can be argued.
You do later.
Enough of that, that's just silly. By state law, I must point out that the views expressed in that debate are not necessarily the views of the CCHS parent company, the friendly folks at Ripley Co. We're being surveilled live tonight on WIQH. WIQH 88.3 in your FM dial. The station that puts the IQ in room. We're also being taped for rebroadcast on Concord Cable Access TV, CCTV. I got nothing. And now a word from our sponsors.
With the upsurge in popularity of teaching creationism in science class under the name Intelligent Design, we here at the CCHS see an opportunity to point out other quote, unquote, scientific ideas that people tend to forget are just theories. Here at the CCHS, we believe in presenting all beliefs in science class, whether or not they're encumbered by those pesky little things we used to call facts. From now on, physics will use a new textbook for sale in the lobby at the court booth. Of Propaganda and People is a new text which discusses the known problems and inconsistencies in the theory of gravity and presents another equally compelling idea, that there is no gravity. We only perceive gravity because the Earth sucks. This theory, known as Hooverism, shows how gravity implies action at a distance, which we know to be impossible, and posits the existence of a cosmic, undocumented houseworker named Ingrid, who runs around the spiritual vacuum cleaner of life. Of Chemistry and Alchemy will now be the primary textbook for use in our chemistry classes. Along with the Standard Model theory, it presents the idea of intelligent bonding, which states that, as Aristotle proposed, the world is made up of 4 elements. However, recent findings have suggested that those 4 elements are not earth, fire, wind, and water, as Aristotle originally thought, but oil, natural gas, cash, and Jack Abramoff. With these new texts, we're sure to prepare our inventory for the brave new world they'll be entering, in which wanting something to be true is as valid as demonstrating it is true. So, be sure to pick up your own copies of these new textbooks, now on sale in the lobby at the court booth.
Mighty guns. B. The CCHS rank book. The CCHS rank book. Your ticket to the Ivies.
A pair of 2-watt, 22-channel, 12-mile lightweight walkie-talkies, $79. Thin wire radio accessory headset earphones that fit under your cap, $33. Lever-controlled semi-automatic machine to duplicate the key to the custodial closet in the S building, $349.
Number 6, D. Number 7, A.
A block and D block, priceless.
Which is more powerful? A. A ponderous brain. B. The CCHS rank book. The CCHS rank book. Your ticket to the Ivies.
Here's Bob. This was Bob's class. Bob's teaching used to be listless. Tried TeachSite, the new once-daily tablet for natural teaching enhancement. Bob's teaching it holds up every time. Class likes it too. So call or go online now to find out how to get a free 30-day sample. TeachSite, the once-daily tablet for natural teaching enhancement.
Which is more powerful? A. Lips, abs.
6.
B. The CCHS rank CCHS Rank Book. Your ticket to the Ivies. A moment of calm. B. The CCHS Rank Book. Grades for sale at a department office near you.
Created an exemplary learning environment in which students have thrived. This is largely due to 40 years of effort in which the faculty, through our representation by the association, has worked diligently with the various administrations and school committees as they've come and gone over time, to reach a consensus about what would be best for students. Then the legislature decreed that ultimate decision-making responsibility rested in the principal and the principal alone. By state mandate, then, we are required to include an address from our principal at every public gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. Arthur DeLong speaking on the important educational issues of the day.
Every reform takes a general proposition that people should not be operating in vacuum. Leaders ought to be operating with clear set of expectations that are defined by the frameworks. Those expectations can be translated into standards, which go define what students know and be able to do. And when you win at that point, it should be easy then to get some clarity and agreement over what actual education in your school building means. Educational quality assurance team. All schools teaching to the standards in frameworks. All schools teaching to the standards in frameworks.
Assessment is an assessment technique that allows students to express their knowledge in a way that makes most sense to them. In Coca-Cola High School,
Follies is the curriculum design that allows you to build higher knowledge, all schools teaching to the standards in frameworks. All schools teaching to the standards in frameworks. Of the many things I don't do well, using jargon is we have to talk to the list. If there was not one that I've used, probably just draw a blank. Maybe someone else has used it in my presence. No child left behind. No child left behind. No child left behind. We are no child database, so that we make decisions based on the data. Make decisions based on the data. All schools teaching the standards in frameworks. Standardized tests, AP exams, SAT exams, MCAS exams. Standardized tests, AP exams, SAT exams, MCAS exams. No standardized test, AP exams. No child exams, MCAS exams. No standardized test, AP exams. No child exams, MCAS exams. No standardized test, AP exams. That's a standard in frameworks. Standardized test, AP exams. That's a standard in frameworks. Standardized test, AP exams. That's a standard in frameworks. Standardized test, AP exams. SAT exams, MCAS exams. It doesn't seem to be fair.
I can't speak for my colleagues, but that's pretty much what I hear at faculty meetings. Unfortunately, Mr. DeLong could not be here this evening given the events at the recent town meeting. He's now in his office deciding whom to lay off. Perhaps I should give him a call, thanking him for his kind words, Ms. Sapp. Okay, I'm not sure. 7
school. In order to assist you in connecting you to the right staff member, please listen to all your options before making a selection. Be sure to listen carefully, as our options have not changed. To lie about why your child was absent from school today, press 1. To complain that your child's week is too full of tests and papers and that it's cutting into his or her ability to concentrate on sports and extracurricular activities, press 2. If you are a representative of the state or federal government calling to give us a new mandate, press 3. Then describe in detail our new responsibilities and spell out exactly how much money you're not going to give us to fulfill them. To ask why you didn't get information that was already enclosed in your newsletter and several flyers mailed to you, press 4. If you want us to raise your child, press 5. To request another teacher for the 3rd time this year, press 6. To beg Mr. DeLong not to lay you off in these trying financial times, press 7. If you want to speak to an operator, press 0. Then please hang on. Your call is important to us. An operator will answer your call as soon as we can afford to hire one.
Hello, Mr. DeLong. This is Peter. I just wanted to thank you for having such a wonderful sense of humor, and to say that it's been a pleasure working here in the past 17 years, and I'll see you on Monday. Or not, your call. Ladies and gentlemen, in accordance with President Bush's great gift to unfunded mandates, the No Child Left Behind Act, each year at our stockholders meeting, we must detail all the ways in which we are working to comply with this important unfunded piece of legislation. Here to deliver this year's State of the Act address, please join me in welcoming Ms. Wilkinson of the Foreign Language Department.
Thank you, Mr. Atlas. Here at CCHS, we have been and will continue to work diligently to make sure that the provisions of this most important act are carried out. Toward that end, we've ordered 1,500 new double-width chairs for our students. We will make absolutely sure that no child's left behind.
Mrs. Wilkinson, I don't mean to interrupt, but you know that the Act ensures that no child is left behind.
No child's left behind. No child's left behind.
There you go.
But the apostrophe, it's not possessive.
It's a contraction.
Well, in that case, that changes everything. Excuse me, I've got to cancel the chairs.
Probably incumbent upon me to point out that canceling the chairs is already an idea that's been floated by the school committee. Anyway, embracing the business model means being on constant lookout for new revenue streams. Here to explain our latest find, please join me in welcoming Ms. Harriet Stevens of the Special Education Department.
In 1998, the federal government set up a new and important level of accommodations for students. Enlarging upon the 1973 Rehabilitation Act, this unfunded mandate created a tool called a 504 plan, which allowed for classroom accommodations for students with disabilities. The creation of the 504 plan has given us another tool for serving students in ways that are appropriate and best for them. Now to the good news. To supplement this important educational 504 plan for students, we'd like the parents in our audience to know about a host of new commodities we are now featuring in our 504 product line, available for your purchase. First in our product line is the very popular shampoo, Alberto VO504. For the parent whose hair takes just a little longer to clean. Next, I'm very happy to share with you Hawaii 504. Vacations for the criminally minded. Want to modify your favorite TV show for your own viewing pleasure? Then you will be interested in the purchase of Beverly Hills 50410. Backed by popular demand, Levi's 504. For the parent who can only put their pants on one leg at a time. Please, please, do not even consider any kitchen remodeling until you see our 50 floor plans. And finally, the star in our 504 product. The show fragrance of CCHS Guidance Department, Chanel number 504.
Harriet. I am your father.
Peter, that's it. You promised me this would be a dignified event. I didn't come here to be made to look like a fool. I can get that kind of treatment during the school day. Thank you.
I am your father.
Times like these, you just have to take a breath and relax. Here to lead us in taking a collective breath, may I present Ms. Jill Curry of Special Education, Mr. Joe Zellner of Social Studies, and of course, the Fury Family Singers. Ms. Allison Fury of the Guidance Department and the Down and Going. Dr. Bob Fury, Psychology teacher in the Social Studies Department.
I feel so sad, I feel so bad, I feel so mad, breathe in, breathe out, my mind is here, my mind is there, life is unfair, breathe in, breathe out, I feel so blue, too much to do, I'm blaming you, breathe in, breathe out, don't run away, hear what I say, have a nice day, breathe in, breathe out, I'm on the brink, I need a shrink, put down that drink, breathe in, breathe out, I feel so sad, I feel so bad, I feel so mad, breathe in, breathe out.
Representatives for those relaxing words. I know I feel better. And now it's time for our spectacular raffle. Here to pick the winning tickets, please welcome back Mr. Sheldon.
Thank you, Mr. Atlas. Sales have been brisk. If the winner isn't here, he or she will be contacted by the Parents Association. And the winner is... Thank you, lovely. Miss Lovely Assistant. Sorry, lovely. I sure you're eligible. The first winner of 4 seats at 2 Red Sox games is... Thank you. And the winner is Paul Chasen. The grand prize, 2 seats at one game, 4 seats at another, and a ball, autographed by the great Diaz himself. Yes. All it says is Oberg. Please find the lovely Miss Carol Bowen at the reception after the show to collect your prize. If you're at home listening on WIQH, that's okay. The Parents Association will contact you.
It's a great pleasure to introduce the evening's keynote speaker, one of the greatest intellects of the schools, which is to say, one of the great intellects. He has announced his retirement after this, his 35th year of teaching here at the CCHS. Here to share with us his considerable accumulated wisdom, a man whose date of hire is closer to the explosion of the Hindenburg than it is to today. It's true, I'm a math teacher. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to present to you Mr. Dennis Cleary.
Good evening. When I was asked to deliver the evening's keynote address, I must admit I was a bit nervous. How does one offer a serious note in the midst of all this? Earlier in the night I had written frivolity, but I hadn't seen Joseph in drag yet. I met Herrera and Hobletzel. Definitely have to do some evaluation. But I must say, the singing of This Is My High School earlier in the evening has focused me. The first time we sang that song was at a faculty show many years ago. Almost all of you in the auditorium right now were in elementary school. And I'm not just talking about the students in the audience, but the parents as well. It was sung as a lark. The words written by Mr. Mead and Mr. Atlas were a takeoff on the original lyrics to This Is My Country, a song I remember singing during the Civil War, I think it was. I have come to believe that song deserves more serious credit than anyone originally afforded it. I began teaching at Concord Carlisle High School 35 years ago. At that time, in its most literal sense, kids were swinging from the rafters of a school. Do not confuse this with hyperbole. We are talking real students, real rafters. One might say it was not an environment where significant learning thrived. Over the past 3.5 decades, it has been administrators and staff, sometimes acting as faculty, sometimes acting as members of the Concord Carlisle Teachers Association, that have tirelessly worked to turn this school into the model it has become. CCHS is a safe and welcoming environment. This was not done by accident, but because we strived to make it so. CCHS is a place where students have ample opportunity to thrive in the classroom, on stage, on the playing fields, and in the gallery. Not simply because of the intrinsic talents of the students, though talented they are, but because of a learning community dedicated to nurturing those talents and a union dedicated to creating an environment where those talents can grow. Members of the faculty of this school are recognized nationally. Again, this is not hyperbole. We have 3 published fiction authors, a noted writer on educational theory, countless authors of published scholarly works. We have teachers who have taught in colleges and universities. We have a teacher who proved a new mathematical theorem, and a language arts advisor and writer for McNeil Lehrer Productions in Washington, D.C. We have had theatrical productions written up in Theater Week magazine. I'm sure this will not be one of those. We have a teacher who is ranked as one of the top 10 Scrabble players in North America. We have faculty members who hold patents, who have been hired as consultants by PBS and the College Board. A member of the faculty won the Presidential Teacher of the Year Award. We have had faculty members who are on national committees to write SAT questions and to write standards for grading AP tests. Around 10% of the faculty hold doctorates. I defy you to find any other public high school with a similar percentage. This school has become renowned for the quality of its education and its care for students. The most common refrain from our alumni and alumnae who return after graduation is how much better their high school experience was than the ones described by their peers from other schools all across the country. And to continue an age-old tradition of mocking Acton Boxborough, I have known a number of teachers to have come from AB to teach here. I have never heard of a CCHS teacher ever bothering to go there. If the state and federal government are sincere about wanting to improve public education, let them come to Concord, Carlisle. I've always wanted to say that. Ich bin ein Concord, Carlisle. Nothing like a podium. The states and federal government's current fad word is accountability. That's right, accountability. Accountability explains why we take away 1 week in March and a full 2 weeks of instruction in the middle of each May to administer MCAS tests to our sophomores. Accountability explains why most of the time at our faculty meetings has gone from discussions of how we could become a better high school to discussions of state and federally mandated recitation of lists of forms we are now legally obliged to fill out. Do not get me wrong. Every school should be accountable for its children's performance and for the quality and quantity of their learning. But that accountability should be local in nature. It exists in our professional and personal pride, in our commitment to each other, teachers, parents, students, and it comes under review as it should each time we enter a classroom, each time there is a parent-teacher conference. In fact, each time a conversation starts at your supper table with, "So honey, how was school today?" Finally comes out of our love for this place and this moment in time. Recently I was passing through Wayland on the way home to Framingham. And as I came to a light in the center of town, there were hundreds of children and their parents holding up signs reading, "Honk if you support better education in Wayland." Now, I am a professional educator. As a rule, I like kids. And respect parents. That's just my nature. But I just couldn't honk my horn. Why would I want better education in Wayland? I want CC to continue to dominate every award in every category in the state. Wailing warriors. We have a wonderful school with an extraordinarily dedicated and talented faculty. Come here at 6 o'clock in the morning. You will see faculty cars in the lot. Heck, come at 4 o'clock in the morning and see Joe Leone's of Math's car in the lot next to Karen Bushy of Guidance. And Karen is retired. Come here at 8 in the evening and you will see faculty cars in the lot. Come on the weekends. Come during vacations. CCH has never marched to the beat of a drummer outside our school and our community. We have marched to the expectations of the parents and students whom we serve, not state and certainly not federal authorities. No child left behind is a federal educational initiative jointly sponsored by President Bush and Senator Kennedy. Stop and think about that combination for a while. George Bush, Edward Kennedy, educational excellence. There has to be some irony, some humor in that, don't you think? At least they have not created any national standards for driver's ed yet. They'll cross that bridge when they come to it. Ladies and gentlemen, CCHS students and teachers, this is your high school. This is our high school. But let there be no mistake, after 34, 35 years, most importantly, and with great affection, I can say, this is my high school. And as the lyric of the song asserts, it has been and will continue to be the best by a mile. Thank you.
At this point, I'd like to recognize Dr. Charles Goff, sitting 8th row, stage right aisle, former principal of Wayland High School. Right there. Keynote address was brought to you by our friends in the administration. When a top-down management approach seems to be the only option that makes sense to you, consider contacting the helpful folks at Ripley Co. The administrators at Ripley embracing continuity by celebrating their 5th consecutive month without a major change in personnel. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had some fun tonight, poking fun. Well, I have. At the idea of education as a business. But what it all comes down to, of course, is funding. Between the effects of Proposition 2.5, drastic cuts in state financial support, and the cost of heating the school, there are each year fewer real dollars available to ensure that we continue to offer the best possible education to the children of the towns of Concord, Carlisle, and Boston. Let's take one more cue from the business world by thinking outside the box when it comes to funding. Businesses collect residuals. We should too. Let me explain how it would work. Whenever a former graduate gets a job, they send 0.1% of their salary back to the school. Surely for every, and I know, don't call me Shirley, for every $100 our former students make, 10 cents of it is due to some skill, some fact, some habit of mind that they learned in high school. That's all we ask. Pay for what you use. Every time you use or hear and understand the words coherent, excursion, and innovation, send us a check. When you're watching a report on a volcano that went off in some South American country, and you know both why a volcano explodes and where the South American country is, send us a check. And if you're ever in one of two trains, leaving a station, call me personally. On behalf of my peers in the association, I propose that in the next round of negotiations, we not argue over a piddly 9 or 12% wage increase. Let's not argue about wages at all. We'll forego our salaries entirely to be able to share in the future financial success of our students. That for accountability. 0.1% of their wages. The education at the school would remain at the highest quality throughout time. We could avoid the bitterness that has begun to be felt every 3 years as negotiations over contracts drag acrimoniously on. The communities would save money, and we'd finally be able to live here with you. We've come to the end of our show. Please join us in the cafeteria after the final gavel falls for a short Parents Association sponsored reception. Shake hands with the stars, get jiggy with Hoblitzel. To close the meeting, please join Dr. Robert Fury of the Social Studies Department and the rest of the association in the traditional Havdalah practice of singing the official anthem of the Department of Education, Meet Every Mandate.